All right. So a surface area review, make sure that you have your formula chart handy, make sure you have a calculator handy, and the emphasis is to solve each part. So P, H, and capital B. These are the things that we're focusing on. These are the only things that are not numbers in the formula. Remember, the first half of it is always going to be the sides, the lateral area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the front as the base. That way we can determine the height. So whenever we were talking about finding the capital P, or the perimeter of the base, I was telling you what I always did with my students is I went ahead and highlighted these two sections. It'll tell you the two numbers you're dealing with, 5, and this section over here is 2. So 5 and 2, and then just add up all the sides. 14. And it's okay to write 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2. And then 7 and 7 is 14. Then the height, which is the distance from the front to the back. And the only reason I say front to back is because we chose the front side as the base. So to get to its other parallel side is going to be going backwards. And that's going to be on 7. That's the height of the prism. And then capital B, area of the base. And this is where we highlighted the length and width. 5 times 2 is 10. You could have also substituted capital B in with length times width, or base times height. Alright, so now all we have to do is plug these things in. 14 times our height of our prism, which is 7, plus 2 times the area of the base, which is 10. We had 1 in the front and 1 in the back. That's why we're multiplying it by 2. 14 times 7 is 98. There's your lateral surface area. Okay, so if you get asked that question, you know it's always in the front part. Plus 20 is going to give you 118 square units. So hopefully you went through number 1 and you were using the formula chart and substituting all these things in. Your work looks very similar to this. This is the standard and how it's done. Problem number 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with the same exact thing. P, H, and B. Alright, so triangular prism. There's no debate on what the base is. That's why it's called a triangular prism. It's a prism that's defined by its base, so it's called a triangular prism. Go ahead and shade that in real quick. No debating it. We have a base and we have a height, and we have the hypotenuse, which is the longest side from the right angle. You should know that from the Pythagorean theorem practice. Alright, so perimeter of the base. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight the actual perimeter of the base. Alright, so then that means this 5 is going to be right here. So 3 plus 3 plus 5. Now I wanted to include a problem that had a number that was the same as the height of the prism. So you could see, regardless of what the numbers are, you can see where they're placed and you can differentiate what they mean. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 5 is 11. Cool, so we have a perimeter of 11. Height is the distance from one triangle to the next. Alright? So that's going to be 5. And the area of the base. This is where you look on your formula chart and you're like, okay, I got a triangle. It says 1/2 BH. So, this is what I've always written as base times height divided by 2. Taking a half of something is also the same as dividing it into 2 pieces. So base is 3, the height is 3, and you're dividing by 2. So that's 9 divided by 2, give you 4.5. Alright, now we take these pieces and we put it into the formula. 11 times the height of the prism, which is 5, plus 2 times the area of the base, 4.5. And that's cool because it's going to give us our 9 again. All right. So keep in mind the first part is always your lateral surface area. That would be the 3 rectangles that are connecting the 2 triangles together. 55 plus 9 should give you 64 square units. All right. Hopefully you went through the problem and you did all the stuff I just did and came out with an answer extremely close, if not exactly the same. If you are coming up with something different, then it's okay to, ask a question. Where exactly is it going wrong? And then we can start diagnosing where the problem is at when we look at your work. Number 3, same routine, P, H, and capital B. All right, so I'm all about looking for what I need to do and draw myself a little picture. I don't like to think over and over and over again over the same thing. So I know that the bottom of the triangle is 4, this side over here is 5, and from what the picture tells me, this 4 is also right here. So I've got 5 plus 4 plus 4. So that's going to be 9 plus 4 is 13. The height, which is the distance from the front triangle to the rear triangle, because it's a triangular prism, we know that the bases are triangles. The height's going to be 12. Area of the base. This is where you look at area formulas and you're like, what shape is the base? The shape is a triangle, which is the 1/2 BH, or base times height divided by 2. The base of the triangle looks like the right angle is sitting on top of the 4. So there's our base. The height of the triangle, it's pointing to the line that's showing you from the bottom to the very tippy top, is 3. So that's 12 divided by 2 is 6. Cool. Now we take all this information and put it into the formula. 13 times the height, which is 12 of the prism, plus 2 times the area of the base, which we said was 6. So 13 times 12, 156. There's your lateral surface area. That's all the rectangular sides connecting the 2 triangles together. Just go ahead and highlight those real quick. And then on the other side over there, and on the bottom. So there should be 3 of those since they're connecting all the sides. And then 2 times 6 is 12. So you should have 168 square units for your total surface area. So 156 was your lateral surface area, and then this is your total surface area. Problem 4. So we went over this, and it looks like it's difficult, but it's not. You've just taken the only 2 parts you don't know. The radius, which is halfway across a circle, and the height, which is separating, it's the distance between the 2 bases, which are circles. So the radius, cool. We know that 6 is already a radius. That's awesome. I'm just going to bring that down. We know that the height, the distance between circles, is 10. All right. Now all we do is just put this information into the formula. 2 times 3.14 times 6 times 10. Now, if you just want to go ahead and just solve this, go for it. I'm going to go ahead and type it in my calculator all at once. I'm not going to type it in chunks or anything like that. 2 times 3.14 times 6 times 10. Okay, I got 376.8. You just found lateral surface area. That's the rectangle wrapping around the circles. So all of this section right here is 376.8 plus 2 times 3.14 times the radius squared. So this is a little floaty too. Times 6 squared. All right, so 2 times 3.14 times 36. 226.08. You can hear me. I'm going through it the same process as what I'm telling you to do because it's the only way you can do it. Plus 376.8 gives you a total of 602 0.88. And if you wanted around that, you could go to 602.9 or 603. But typically when you're dealing with pi, you want to go out to the hundredths place at least. That's where you're going to be expected to go to, the second decimal place. Okay, so problem number 5. So radius and height. You know the radius is halfway across a circle, which is right here. Cool. That's 4. The distance between circles is 7. 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 4, times the height, which is 7, plus. Alright, so I'm just going to solve this part real quick. 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 7, 175.84. Okay, there's your lateral surface area. That is the rectangle that's wrapping around the circles. And 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 4, squared. Okay, so 2 times 3.14 times 16, 100.48. Okay, so when we add those together, you get 276.32 square units. This just takes practice, it takes repetition, it takes understanding, knowing the parts, and then just putting them into the formula and knowing how and when to type them in the calculator. Let me know where you're having some issues.